I've continued to make entries in this stock around the bad news at this current share price, simply because I've identified a number of catalysts coming up over the next year and even within the next 6 months or so, which I anticipate could see a share price spike. One of the first things to look at is the third quarter 2025 financial results published on November the 12th, 2025, where Humacyte announced a significant increase in sales. During the third quarter of 2025, Humacyte continued to execute on the US commercial launch of Symvess, with sales increasing substantially, totaling $703,000 for third quarter compared to only $100,000 in the second quarter, with the increase in sales attributed to an increased number of individual hospitals and healthcare system approvals, as well as a recent inclusion in the US Defense Logistics Agency electronic catalog, which essentially means that Humacyte's Symvess product has now been featured in a sales catalog for the US military. Since then, Humacyte have announced new US Department of Defense funding for procurement of bioengineered blood vessels, with the National Defense Authorization Act enacted in December 2025, stating that the Department of Defense should integrate FDA-approved breakthrough vascular repair technologies in traumatic extremity arterial injury repair, providing an off-the-shelf biologically active vascular conduit. And this is a direct reference to Humacyte's Symvess, which is the only FDA-approved product which fits this description that they've stated right here. And so this means that Symvess benefits from exclusivity, as it's the only product available that fits this criteria. Humacyte are also continuing to expand Symvess into new territories outside of the US also. Humacyte submits marketing authorization application for Symvess in Israel for vascular trauma repair. They submitted a marketing authorization application, an MAA, with the Israeli Ministry for Health for approval of the acellular tissue engineered vessel, the ATEV, or Symvess, which is the commercial name for the product, for arterial trauma repair. In response to surgeon request, Humacyte are also pursuing a mechanism for making Symvess available in Israel on a hospital-by-hospital basis in advance of MAA approval. The marketing authorization application, MAA, with the Israeli Ministry of Health marks the start of a formal regulatory approval in a new market outside the US. And so for a product like Symvess, which already has this US FDA approval, it could actually accelerate the approval process in Israel, and this approval could come within the next 6 to 9 months or so. And the mechanism for making Symvess available in Israel on a hospital-by-hospital basis in advance of the MAA approval suggests real clinical demand from surgeons and actually indicates that the product can be used before the approval itself. And as a result, we could see increased revenue due to this accelerated adoption of the treatment or the product before this official approval in Israel. Humacyte also received a Symvess purchase commitment for clinical evaluation and outreach program in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The purchase commitment is for a minimum of $1.475 million of Symvess product. The planned clinical evaluation program is to be conducted in parallel with ongoing negotiations with a Kingdom of Saudi Arabia-based entity for establishment of a joint venture and license to commercialize Symvess within the country. Humacyte will provide personnel to train medical professionals in the use of Symvess as part of the program. And so this announcement in Saudi Arabia is not just about buying Symvess to use. They're paying to trial the product, to train medical staff on how to use it before a potential countrywide commercial rollout of the product too. And so looking at where the Humacyte stock is at the moment, the company is at a critical inflection point. And like I mentioned, I've been buying more of this stock in this recent decline over the last few days of the further dilution and the pricing of $20 million registered direct offering of common stock.